If you're like me, you know the feeling of being lost in life. That dull sense of anxiousness that clouds every waking moment of your life. A feeling that at times builds up and becomes so unbearable that you have no choice but to distract yourself, to numb it. Days, weeks, months, years go by with little to no progress because you feel like the motivation, the inspiration you need to finally make the changes in your life is behind this door with this singular keyhole, but you do not have the key. And then you go online, you watch self-improvement videos, you listen to those motivational edits, and a pattern emerges. In almost all of them, they say something about you need a why. You need a purpose. And if only you just discovered your true purpose, everything in life will align. You will wake up with this infinite source of motivation. You will know exactly what to do every single day of your life. You will make insane amounts of progress financially, physically, socially. And above all else, you will finally become the higher version of yourself. You will finally reach your true potential. But for some reason, you can't find it. So you're hopping around trying all these different daily routines, all these different make money methods, but nothing is changing. And it feels like if you do not unlock this purpose, this why, your whole life is going to be suffering because you will be trapped in the realm of mediocrity, of unfulfillment, of not living the life you desire, of not making the amount of money you desire, of not having the impact on the world that you desire. Well, I am here to tell you that you've been lied to. Every movie we watched growing up and every story that you see on YouTube from your favorite self-help creators follows the hero's journey, which is the storytelling framework that leads the main character through this process of transformation and achievement, and every single time it starts with one thing: a call to adventure. It's in The Matrix when Neo's living his everyday life until Morpheus comes and tells him that he is the one. It's in Star Wars when Luke is called to leave his home planet and go on a mission with Ben Kenobi. It's Harry Potter when suddenly Hagrid showed up and told him he's a wizard and he needs to go to Hogwarts. And what this has done over time is it has conditioned us to wait around until we have some grand external realization to finally reveal our purpose, our life path to us. When the truth is, for 99% of people, that will never happen because it doesn't really exist. It is not a guarantee. The modern world ensures that a call to action will never happen for the majority of people because the modern world doesn't want heroes. They want servants. So in this video, I'm going to explain what your true purpose is, how to find it, and how to take action on it so that you can finally have clarity in this world of chaos, so you can wake up in the mornings ready to go with a sense of purpose, and so that you can get on the path that I have taken that has unlocked immeasurable levels of freedom and have this sense of fulfillment and of self-actualization that allows you to have the discipline to push through the thing you're working on, your thing, your purpose, even when it gets difficult. So unlike animals that are naturally born to be a predator or prey, naturally live in a certain ecosystem, naturally fit a certain niche, humans are born with no clear direction. But as children, we all naturally have innate preferences and dislikes. Einstein as a child was fascinated by compasses. This led to his interest in unseen forces. Steve Jobs was mesmerized by technology and design from an early age. Tiger Woods was instinctively drawn to the sport of golf. Me personally, as a child, I was obsessed with content online and creating videos and the idea of myself doing that as a living one day. And this is what the world famous psychologist Maslow, yes, the guy that made the hierarchy of needs, calls impulsive voices. The way to recover the meaning of life and the worthwhileness of life is to recover the power of experience, to have impulsive voices from within, and to be able to hear these impulsive voices from within and make the point, this can be done. This is gonna sound corny, but look at your hand. All of these little ridges, your thumbprint is inherently unique. It is not the same as anyone else on the planet because your DNA is dramatically different from everyone else's. And the worst thing you could possibly do in your life is waste that uniqueness. Because what happened is, as we grew up, external voices from our parents, from teachers, from society began to muddy the waters, and we lost clarity on those natural preferences. And you couple this with peer pressure to act like the other kids in school, to go down the same career paths, to go to the same colleges as your peers. By adulthood, your full perception on yourself and what's possible is completely distorted. Therefore, step one is to dive back into your past, to do some self-reflecting and to find your natural inclinations. So take stock of the things you are naturally drawn throughout your life. The things that maybe you were inherently good at off the bat, the things that gave you this sense of ego fulfillment when you did it, the things that you were fully willing to learn about and practice for hours and hours on end. But that alone is not going to give you the amount of clarity and motivation that's actually required to fulfill your potential. Because we've been sold this idea that we need to move towards positive outcomes, that fulfillment, those rewards, whether it's something very fulfilling like helping millions of people or driving a sports car and having a hot wife. Therefore, most of the content online is centered around that. But the issue is people find is that is typically almost never enough to keep them moving towards that direction. And it actually reminds me of a study that they did on a mouse, where they took a mouse and they tied its little mouse tail to a spring, and the spring measured the force that the mouse would pull against the spring. And what they found is that the mouse would pull decently hard when moving towards cheese. But the moment they begin to waft the smell of a cat behind the mouse pulled way harder in the opposite direction. Humans are the same. That sense of drive, that sense of relentlessness that you desire, that everyone says will happen once you find your purpose, is actually going to be found when you make an emotional connection. And yes, there is an emotional connection to make towards the positive, just like the mouse with the cheese. But the most powerful source you're going to find is moving away from pain. Intellectual pursuits for the sake of intellectualism in itself will never be enough. There needs to be an emotional charge pushing you in a given direction. Therefore, a negative, such as hating your current 9-to-5 job, hating the current path you're on in college, can push you in a more preferable direction. And then perhaps, let's say that new direction, you're making more money. All of a sudden you get to that $10,000 a month mark, and now you have a positive emotional charge pushing you there as well. Or if you are blessed with some kind of innate love for a specific thing, you have to be careful, because that doesn't mean, oh, I love video games, I should become a pro gamer. No, you're a dopamine addict. It's a cheap source of dopamine, and that's why your brain thinks you love it, but it's not really you. It's just neurons in your brain that are receiving dopamine. And I say that because I know that butthurt gamers are now going to comment about it. And that's kind of the issue when you just focus on the positive, because to be honest, it's really hard to make that out early on. But it's almost always very easy to find current pains in your life, current hell in your life that you should want to escape from. And the way to trigger this is to create an anti-vision. The vision of your life, if you do not gain this clarity, if you not gain this direction, if you do not find your purpose and make the changes to become that higher version of yourself, live up to your potential, get the desired outcomes you have in your life, how terrible life is going to look like for you moving forward. You can imagine mediocrity of sitting in that office with those fluorescent lights beaming down on you. You have a subtle migraine from them. You're dependent on another man or woman as your boss just to survive. You can't drop everything on a whim, pick up your laptop, and go to a new state or a new country to gain new experiences. And you could play this out all the way until the point that you are on your deathbed and you are kicking yourself for all of the things you didn't do. And the more clear you can paint this anti-vision, the more painful it will become, and therefore it acts as this source of infinite motivation, although I hate using that word, infinite drive to propel you in the opposite direction. But I do think it's time that I finally reveal to you what your true purpose is. Because your purpose is not becoming a writer, becoming a musician, becoming an entrepreneur, business owner. Your purpose is you. We were sold this idea that purpose is fulfilling a specific role in the world, becoming a specific thing, finding our thing and doing nothing else except that. But the reality is, the specific things you do are not the end goal. They are merely vehicles to get you to your true purpose. The true purpose of self-actualization, of becoming that higher version of yourself, the best possible version of yourself. Whether you're religious or not, I am religious, so I believe that becoming the version of myself that God has blessed me with the opportunity to become. And the specific things that I do are just the vehicle that I kind of ride on to get me to that point. My things have been videography, YouTube, writing, marketing, psychology, teaching, business, speaking, yet I am not one of those things. Because we are human beings and specialization is for insects. Therefore, all of these things were merely vehicles towards the purpose of developing myself and unlocking the freedom and fulfillment I've always desired, and of course, helping other people do the same. Your purpose is not mastering a specific thing. Your purpose lies in the process of mastery itself. And that is step 3. become the purpose. But even if you do all that, you're still going to remain in this state of complete and utter lack of clarity. Your mind and your outcomes is this tangled mess. But over time, what is going to happen is those lines are going to get more and more straightened out until you have complete clarity and sense of purpose on what you are doing. But the only way to make that happen is through action. And this is the phase where literally everyone makes this crucial mistake, including me. Because you see other people that you think are living out their purpose, that are making it, that are succeeding, and you just think, oh, I need to instantly go and do that. And all that's gonna lead to you doing is walking up, trying to jump up there, and falling flat on your face due to overwhelm, due to lack of knowledge, and due to the fact that you are blinded by ego, blinded by a need for instant gratification, blinded by a need for perfectionism, and you just want to instantly jump up to best when you should be going for better. It's like the Carl Jung quote, modern man can't see God because he doesn't look low enough. You are too busy looking up here, but in reality, there is zero actions that you can currently take to get you there. Therefore, you're going to remain in a state of inaction, a tangled mess. Nothing's actually going to happen. But if you're willing to look lower and look right in front of you and choose better over best, suddenly you have a place to go to. And then it gets a little better. And then it gets a little better. And then it gets a little better. And before you know it, you will be there. And I say before you know it, but it may actually take a while, I'm not gonna lie. But it is this very process that is your purpose. This is self-development. This is self-actualization. This is achieving mastery in a multitude of things. Therefore, what you need to do is bring this ideal version of your life, this ideal version of yourself into the present, just on a much smaller scale. For example, I wanted to be a full-time creator, but I couldn't because I already had a full-time job working front desk at a gym. Therefore, in the extra time I had in my day, I had to carve out a block to be that full-time YouTuber for that allotted period of time. And then as things progressed and I built my skills and I pursued mastery, I began to not work that regular job anymore, freelance for another creator, and then I had more time to work on my career of being a full-time creator. And you flash forward that to now, I am a full-time creator that makes really good money, that can travel the world, that lives wherever I want to live, because I pursued this process. And real quick, before we go into the fifth and final step, if that's something you're also interested in, I recommend checking out my second channel where I teach everything about becoming a creator, exactly what I do and how you can do it too. I'll put it in the description. But finally, another lie that you've probably heard is once you get on this path, once you find your purpose, once you start making progress, everything is just gonna flow effortlessly. And while there is some truth to that, the reality is the majority of the time, you're gonna sit down at the blank document, you're gonna sit down at the piano, you're gonna sit down with the camera, you're gonna sit down at whatever your thing is that you're currently doing, and you're gonna feel immeasurable amounts of resistance. Resistance, more often than not, is the voice doing everything in its power to get you to do literally anything else but the one thing you should be doing. And whether it's best-selling authors, world-class athletes, or multi-millionaire business owners, all of them say that they face this resistance on almost a day-to-day basis. And the resistance is actually a sign that that is the thing that you should do. And the skill comes in the ability to sit and do the work even without the instant gratification, and sit in that uncertainty for extended periods of time, not knowing when it's gonna pass, and just eat the shit. And trust me when I say that what feels like eating shit now will look like wisdom in the future. But I cannot explain my entire protocol on how to overcome resistance, which if you're going to master something, it's gonna be there. So if you click the video on the screen right now, I will tell you exactly my protocol to overcome resistance and become the most disciplined, professional version of yourself. It's on the screen right now. Click it, click it. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye-bye.